The company operating the Titan said in a statement they believe all lives aboard were sadly lost, including their own CEO. The U.S. Coast Guard confirmed they will continue their recovery mission and investigation to help bring closure to the families and friends of the victims. For Kaplan News, I am Jan Preisler. Replacing the Postal Service's 30-year-old trucks with new ones with features like AC was supposed to start this fall, but delays have pushed its rollout to mid-2024. Expo Fine Art will be hosting new events every month with different artists showcasing the full depth of Latin American art, so you can catch your new art experiences throughout the year. The fundraiser has raised over $1,600 between the ride, donations, and winners of the cash prize raffles donating money back to the Aparicio family, bringing the D-Line community even closer. Rudolph says he's ready to celebrate and spend time with his family, and is looking forward to a return back to football. President Biden is set to meet with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy today to continue debt ceiling talks after failing to find any common ground, as Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warns the U.S. could default on its debt as soon as June 1st if no agreement is found. The CDC has collaborated with Florida and Texas health departments and is carrying out active mosquito surveillance and control measures across the affected areas. For Kaplan News, I am Jan Preisler. Students at FIU had a rare opportunity last Thursday to meet face-to-face with students from Ukraine on Zoom, where they got a chance to connect and share their stories on fleeing their homes since the war broke out between Ukraine and Russia.
I'm sorry, I have goosebumps. I'm just like, I remember those moments, and we were so afraid. And like the next moment when there was the first alarm around the city, this noise is, it's the most horrible noise that I've ever heard. It means basically that there are rockets directed on our city. After this first alert, my mother just said that I'm sorry, but you take your luggage and you go.
The event, hosted by Tuesday Times Roundtable and FIU's Office of Global Learning Initiatives, brought Ukrainian students now studying in Poland together with the South Florida community, with the goal to bring a better understanding of what's going on in Ukraine and how people are being impacted.
FIU community has a better understanding of what the immigrants are Ukrainian immigrants, what they're going through and what we can do to support them.
Students had a chance to discuss ways to better support Ukrainians impacted by the war and shared their hopes for more opportunities like this one to spread awareness and to open new discussions.
Talking about the current situation in Ukraine, the current war in Ukraine is very important. But I would also like people to get to know our culture better and our identity better.
Which is exactly what's in the planning, as these students give feedback on how to set up the next discussion, which will be announced in the fall. For Kaplan News, I am Jan Preisler. The future is rolling in fast, and Congress is playing catch-up.
Too often, we have seen what happens when technology outpaces regulation.
By beginning a Senate hearing Tuesday with an AI-generated voice, speaking as a senator while speculating how to control it.
You might have thought that voice was mine and the words from me, but in fact, that voice was not mine. The remarks were written by ChatGPT.
ChatGPT, the AI bot taking the world by storm and showing just how powerful AI technology can be, and the man behind it.
My name is Sam Altman.
The CEO of the company behind ChatGPT testifying its potential before Congress for the first time.
I think if this technology goes wrong, it can go quite wrong, and we want to be vocal about that. We want to work with the government to prevent that from happening.
But while Congress thundered for answers on topics from national security to image and likeness rights,
what kind of an innovation is it going to be? Is it going to be like the printing press? Or is it going to be more like the atom bomb?
There's more to AI that must be considered.
That's not all that AI is. There are many, many, many applications of AI in many different aspects of our lives.
Dr. Agurita Palizu, an assistant professor and a machine learning researcher at Florida International University.
The problem is that the people that developed that something did not properly educate the public. And one of the first regulations that could be there is to educate the public about how the model should be used and the risks that might be associated with their use.
Jan Preisler, Kaplan News. Over the weekend, hundreds of people had a chance to grab rare vintage soccer jerseys and join in on the soccer revolution that's taking over Miami. Tifosi Vintage, one of the largest Florida-based resellers of vintage soccer jerseys, opened their limited-time pop-up shop in the heart of Midtown Miami, selling over 1,000 eye-popping jerseys that excite soccer fans and fashion enthusiasts alike.
Between yesterday and today, we probably had about 300-400 people come through. it boosted sales about 100 to 200% more. And now pop-ups are about, I'll say about 70% of revenue comes from pop-ups.
Jimmy Ruiz, founder and owner of Tifosi Vintage, says it all started when he saw an opportunity during the pandemic to turn his passion for collecting into a full-on business, and says now the subculture is booming, and with Messi's move to Miami, demand will only grow.
I can see it between both pop-ups that this one has to be a lot more popular than the first one. The first one was very, very good, but this one just completely took off. And I think the fact that Messi's coming here definitely plays a big part, you know?
Shamar Doyle, a local collector, says shops like these are not only great for fashion culture, but also bring passionate soccer fans together as a community, and says he's looking forward to more events like it.
Miami didn't have a big soccer/football culture even 5 years ago. So to see people who were, into different types of jerseys, people that support teams that most people who don't follow the sport don't know about, it was just amazing.
Tifosi Vintage is finished up in Miami for now and has plans to return before the end of the year. But you can still get your classic jerseys anytime at their online shop. And keep an eye out because they're creating new pop-ups across the country, with the next ones being in Houston and New York City. For Kaplan News, I am Jan Preisler.